And the game is precariously poised in Vizag. Day 3, it stumps, and England still require over 300 runs. But the question is, can India bounce back on day 4 and pick up those 9 remaining wickets? My name's Avnish Hegde. We have lots to talk about in what's been a moving day at Visakhapatnam. We have Gurkirat and Nikhil Popat to, of course, dissect it all, talk about a whole host of things. Shubman Gill getting 100, and that is something to talk about. Another failure for Shreyas Iyer. There was runs for, of course, Akshar Patel, and there's question marks about India's wicketkeeper KS Bharat, despite him taking an absolute sensational catch to dismiss Duckett prior to stumps. Gentlemen, let's start chronologically, or in fact, let's just get straight into it by asking you guys your first thoughts. Nikhil, I'll start with you. How do you assess the day's play, and what is it in terms of your mind right now? 60-40 India? 55-45?
That it is not less than 20 in England's favor tells you a lot about how good England have been. So uh, it is in a way very reflecting of the way India have played with both bat and ball. Very, very reactive, very, very rigid at times. And even if a side is hitting 332 runs, you know, and you're still saying it is evenly poised, this tells you a lot about how we feel about this side and how they have come up as well. So I think another day off could have been for India. It's probably been the story of the series so far for India. Lots of could have been.
Yeah, it could have been, should have been, would have been. Let's get Gurkirat's thoughts right now. And of course, all you guys are most welcome to have your thoughts in the comments. And I can already see a few comments trickle by, which we'll, of course, talk about in due course. But Gurkirat, this test is giving you vibes of what right now? Is it Edgbaston where they chased down 378, or is it Oval when 399 was actually the target? They were going swimmingly well, and then Shardul Thakur pulled it out of the back for India on day 5. So where do you stand on day 3 at stumps, mate?
It's going like Vizag 2016, because at that point of time also Hamid and Cook had a good partnership. India had gotten 2 wickets by stumps, and then the next morning after, it was fairly easy for the Indian team. But it was a different team. You had Mohammad Shami playing, you had Jayant Yadav being there, and you had a very different approach from the English batting lineup. For starters, I thought it was a disappointing batting effort from the team. uh, I am really disappointed that they did not cross the 300 mark in that innings itself. They should have, and especially when they were 211 for 4. To get all out by 255 was not on. Again, you could have killed the game. You could have really taken the game out of the opposition's grasp, and you wouldn't. You could have still. India could have. Had the batters not lost their wickets, India could have still been batting right now. And then with the ball, I mean, you ask anyone who's watched just test cricket in India, and not even all the games. I'm not talking about those who work at places like cricket.com or other cricket websites. You ask them, acha, second innings hai, itne run hai, to bowling kon open karega. Any random guy will come and tell you, okay, Ashwin has to take the ball from the other end, right? And it was shocking to see Ashwin being the 4th bowler and not beginning the game straight away. And these are basic and elementary errors. They should really have no place in the game. And it's again a controllable, because this is some, and it's not even a reflex action or a mistake. It's not even like a drop catch where your reflexes have let you down or you've not been able to react. You've had time when you know that the innings is going to get over. You can make those plans, and you still make such decisions. It's really hard to really justify and fathom some of these decisions. Pranav is going on about how the field placings have been for the night watchman. You have long off in place and everything. He's absolutely right. I mean, when you have nearly 400 on the board, a night watchman has come in. You shouldn't really be allowing easy singles with having a long off in place. And again, there was only one short leg for Kuldeep. There was no silly point. It really baffles you.
Yeah, it's all these little intricacies which play a huge part in the grander scheme of things. And it's good that Gurkirat has brought up these points, because remember, 24 hours ago, Gurkirat was telling us that 300 is what he feels India should have got, but they succumbed 45 runs short in that position that they were, Nikhil. And then it makes you think about not just field set, but bowling changes as well. Gurkirat made a good point over there. Is it almost like you're compelled right now to throw the ball to Mukesh because you're playing him as Rohit Sharma in the second innings? Because the only instance we've seen a bowler actually strike with a new ball was today, Jimmy Anderson, the entire series. So, what is this conviction that Rohit is having with Mukesh? Is it almost that if you don't throw him the ball now, he's at sea?
But then why pick him? That's the entire point and plot of your planning, right? What is your plan? And as we have a lot of comments about, this is probably just justifying that okay, we picked him, so we have to bowl him. What if he strikes with the new ball? But and again, I am all hearts and courage for Mukesh that there is a lot of pressure. He started well, ended up with two boundaries, but again he was bowling very wide. It's again a controllable. It's not something that the first two three balls went for four and then you wanted to change your line or went a bit wide. The margin of error is that less. And in this point of time, when you know this is the time to pounce on the team, it's also the time where India is thinking, let me justify my selection. I think India are just thinking far too ahead and they're not really grasping the moment that's there in front of them. And you can see that happen with the bat as well. That the kind of shots that you saw previously as well with Aksar and KS, you felt, by up, what are you trying to do by that shot at that point of time? So it's been a series of such calls, and how can you not give him the third over? I understand you gave him 1 over, he went for runs. You're telling me he'll get better in the next one. Where is this conviction or confidence coming from? And as Padi said, you are 400 ahead. You're getting people on, get them on with fields like have an atmosphere where you feel like you'll take wickets. They need 399, and you look as if you're defending 199. I don't think they've really thought all of this through.
Yeah,
And psychologically as
it's
well,
almost.
Paji. I mean, they should have really got above 440 minimum because now it's under 400 with this Bazball approach. That's something that they can easily kind of canter to, dare I say.
See, I'd say one thing which is giving credit to Bazball is that they've really been able to get into the minds of opposition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just this series. You look at Australia in the last Ashes. Uh, they have almost to some extent forced the opposition to bat in the manner which they do, which is not really the opposition's strength. You look at that Pakistan series, those three, the series that they won 3-0. At best, England should have won that series 1-0, which is the third test where the pitches were helpful and they brought spinners into the play. And then you knew that England had bowlers in terms of Robinson and Anderson who could provide more control. But if you look at that series, you would see a lot of Pakistani batters bat in a manner which was not natural to them. It was almost as if Pakistani batters had started to take it on their ego that, okay, if they have scored 500 runs in 75 overs, we have to score at least 400. Not realizing that them scoring 500 runs in those 75 overs comes more risk free to them than to Pakistan itself. So similarly, you felt that even the Indian team is also starting to think more like how England will play. But you don't need to do that. You've had your own template, you've had your own setup. Back that, and you've been fairly successful at it. That is why you've lost a test series for 12 years now.
No, but even today, and let me just
Yeah.
take you back, 3 to 4 hours where Akshar and Gill were milking it out there. Dare I say there were 3 wickets today that was purely on Stokes' fielding instinct. He brought up himself, and then Shreyas Iyer had a poke over mid-off, perished. You could say the same thing about Gill doing something absolutely funky when he's not really had to reverse sweep. He's reverse swept, he's got the glove, and of course, perished. And even probably to extend case Bharat right after tea. This is also getting into the mindset of the batter when the game is literally there to be had, right? Next, quickly
Yeah,
done.
so with Shreyas, I have felt in this series and even before that, I think I mentioned it on the first day itself. Uh, he's looking to overcompensate, his lack of run scoring versus spin. You almost feel that with his body language that he's itching to go after it. He's really itching to go after it. And one thing that English spinners have been able to do well is not bowl, completely full to him, wherein he can just swing his arms and then clear the boundary. They've just bowled at that right length, which is just a little short of 4 meter lengths, wherein as a batter you at least need to use your feet, or you need to go back to at least after the ball has turned, or use your feet to reach to the pitch of the ball. Today also was similar delivery. It did not bounce. It had a little dip, wasn't as fuller, and then it turned. You could almost sense that, and we had Anirudh also in our group saying that you could sense that Shreyas is itching to go for it. I could feel it in the first innings as well. So that is, I still feel that is more on Shreyas, because you know what the situation was. You knew that, maybe half an hour or 40 more minutes of batting for Shreyas, he would have crossed to 50. He would have been at far more ease, and then the game would have completely gone out of England's grasp. So I'm not saying that Stokes is not trying things. He is, and that is something that you need to do when you are behind in the game. But Indian batters have helped England to a large extent. In fact, not only batters, you would say even the Indian think tank. Now, with the bowling plans and everything that they've had, like Nikhil said, you have 399 to defend, but you look on the field as if you have 199 to defend. You don't look confident as a side, from the outside, and that is a huge statement to make when you are the Indian team playing in India, because teams have considered taking the game to the fourth or fifth day as an achievement. That has been your level of domination, and
Yeah, and
now.
that's yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's testament to how India have played. But again, hints and body language and signs that you can tell that England actually had India by the balls, even though India were leading by 380 odd. Even Nick's coming here. Talk to me about how Ashwin was kind of farming the strike with Bumrah. There were lots of runs to be had there. I know he eventually got a couple to go his way. But what was the thinking there? Because if you're the team trying to take the game ahead, you're not going to be sitting there and poking and prodding as if the lead is 150 or you're 380 ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to your point, England have dictated the flow of the game, or the flow of the entire series. To be very honest, in terms of how you are bowling, how you are batting, and that is to complement them. Like now, when you have them, my mind goes back to the discussion that we have heard from air that Kuldeep was told by Ash, presumably, to go for his shots. Kuldeep does it immediately next ball, gets out, and then Ashwin wants to play time. Now, there are two perspectives here. One that I read a lot that, okay, you're waiting for the pitch to deteriorate. But my point is the pitch hasn't shown enough signs for you to already feel that it will happen in the next 30 minutes. You don't know that. And you are already in a space where you know with your history in the past that this side is considered 250 plus chases in South Africa, 350, almost considered 350 plus chases in England. So it's not new, and you still need that cushion of runs. So that's where I felt if this field is spread, you can take a couple, or at least you have to trust Bumrah. If you are giving up on all of those runs, I don't know what you are going to get by batting time, because time is something that England don't care about. If they're looking at chasing a score, they're not looking at chasing it in 150 overs. They're like, we'll keep batting. And the deck so far was such that even how Duckett and Crawley played now, it hasn't done too much for you to be worrying so much about the deck. So I think Bumrah fought well for his 26 ball duck. And again, Ashwin got a couple. But my simple point here is India have again played to how England want them to. They've not been proactive and said that we will dominate or we will dictate how you play. It's been England who is dominating, and then England is deciding how India should play. That, okay, only if I get a ball here and the field is up, will Ashwin go downtown? At no point of time are you putting any pressure back on England. So I think that is something, as Paji also said, there is a good enough gap between the two tests, and I'm sure there is a lot to think for the Indian think tank, because the series scoreline is 1-0, and England do look the far confident side, and maybe it might just be us or the general public, but it does feel like that.
Look, I mean, you're absolutely spot on. But to be fair to India, it's not just the first time we've seen a side be proactive to Bazball, because Bazball has done that to other teams. We've seen it in the Ashes. We've seen it in Pakistan in their own backyard. And Balaji, Ashutosh Pachpai, Shubham Gupta, good to see you guys in the chat. Fayaz, Ronit Agarwal as well, and Ansu Cricket Podcast asking some really cracking questions on this day 3 review. Please like this video before we move along, because it'll help with the algorithm, getting more folks joining the cricket.com community. And we're heading up nicely to 45,000 subscribers on YouTube. And it's for you guys back home who made it absolutely sensational. Right. We'll talk about the showstopper in just a bit, and no prizes for guessing who that was in day 3. But prior to that, I want to ask Gurkirat about one of the guys who don't feature in the top 30 cricketers in India right now, and that's our test captain, Rohit Sharma. What do you put it down to? That second innings dismissal, was it just a Jaffa where you tip your hat to Anderson and be like, amazing? or was it just being mentally fresh? I'm saying lacking of it. I mean, sometimes I just feel, come on, dude, Rohit. I mean, has he had like a post slump or what?
See, if you look at his dismissals in South Africa and now here, you would have to say that he has got some good deliveries. He got a very good one from Ravada, and at the first viewing, even I thought that maybe he's played the wrong line. But when you watch the replay, you would see that it moved very late and just moved marginally. Had it moved a little bit more, might have missed the stumps. And in the first innings, he was troubling Rohit with the ball coming in and attacking his pads. So you can understand why Rohit, wanted to play the initial line, because you have that in your head, you have that in your instinct and the muscle memories, and then it left. So I think it was a very good ball to get Rohit. I don't have a lot of complaints with that. Uh, my frustrations as a T20 as a test batter from Rohit has been when he's not been able to convert starts, and in the absence of Virat, in the absence of KL also, you'd want him to convert those starts, because uh, last test match, I said it. I felt when Rohit was dismissed, you felt England will now run with the game, because he has had that game where he's been able to manage and not go into a shell. He's been able to keep the scoreboard ticking, but then he did the exact opposite thing in the first inning. So probably a little too much on his plate. Doesn't help when you are also under pressure from all corners as a captain, because results are not there, as a player, because there are questions over your spot in one format, and I feel those questions are fair. And then when in the absence of seniors you're not able to step up, questions will be asked once again. So clearly a lot on his plate, and you do sometimes feel that uh, having all those things on his plate is not helping him. And it's probably him lacking that clear mindset which sometimes cricketers talk about. From the outside it does feel that it could be cliched, but now when you observe closely you feel that okay, there might be something more to it than just it being a cliche.
I mean, it's all nice to, of course, have a couple of curse words to your teammates when the over's going through, to laugh at Kuldeep and overawed him like how he did. But Dix, Greg mentions it here, and he mentions 4 points, brutally honest. He's approaching 37. He's losing his reflexes. And not just the two sharp chances in the last ball. I think KS Bharat on stump mic was saying, chalo, 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 ye Rohit ke paas aa raha hai. And it's not like it's going to actually happen. But Rohit should stay sharp, like at least get a finger on it. And I'm not blaming him again, but do you see where there could be a case now he's soon becoming a liability in the test match scheme of things? Or am I wrong?
No, not yet. Not yet, because again, we've seen him come good as a test opener, and it's not very far back as well. Yes, he's had a run of form where he hasn't had that big score that you're looking for from him. But as Paji said, there are a lot of factors right now that are playing on his mind potentially, which are not helping him think clearly that okay, this is what I want to do. Because the the way he batted in the first gig, that's not what you want to see from Rohit. Even when he was batting well in England, whenever he got a bad ball, he was more than happy to put it away. But that wasn't the case in the first gig. He missed out on a few full tosses as well. So sometimes when you are the captain, when you are probably the only senior guy in this side, you are thinking far more defensively or long term that okay, I need to be here so that I can help these guys bat at a better rate. So I think that is happening, and also I don't think Rohit is the guy who you want to put at first slip. I think he has better spots where he can feel. And with once Virat is back, or I think Gill had a great first innings where in terms of he took some great catches. So uh, I think there is a lot of room for him to be there and take care of this transition, because it is needed. And you can already see the kind of mistakes that are happening. As Padi said, home domination, it was taken for granted for a long period of time. If somebody is gotten, they will not give it away. So you need that experience to come through, because I mean, even if with Rohit and Rahul, you still don't have Ashwin opening the new ball with the new ball. There's a lot of room to pass that experience on in terms of getting the tactics and everything right. So as of now, yes, we are getting very desperate in terms of the results. And mind you, tomorrow India could still go on and win by 100 runs or more than that. But at this point of time, it's probably more due to individuals stepping up as compared to the team hitting them as a whole. So I think for now Rohit has too much on his plate to be looked into so much, I feel.
Yeah.
Cricket has,
Also, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You ask.
No, on Rohit itself, just the fact that
Yeah. See,
this series is exposing him as a captain.
I'll come to that later, but I think a lot is read on what a captain has said in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's just too much being, and I've addressed this many times before. As long as after the game you can go and you know speak to the guy and tell him that okay, this was just in the heat of moment. I did not mean it. It's fine. I think it's now it's highlighted only because when Rohit was being made the captain or the talks of him being made the captain, everyone used to present it. Oh, he's very calm and composed. See, when you're winning, it's easier to remain calm and composed.
Mm.
But there were times even when then he was animated, and it's fine. You can't have everyone being MS Dhoni or someone being like KL Rahul who's not as emotional because they are those different individuals. I just think there are a lot more objective points to criticize the
Yeah.
captaincy tactics than these ones. I think these are just
Yeah.
clutching the straws when you don't have anything substantial to talk about. As far as him being exposed is concerned, see, I've had fair amount of criticism of his captaincy, especially with regards to Plan B's not being there, even when he's been MI captain. I remember last IPL where we spoke at enough length as to why, just for instance, why Arjun Tendulkar is not bowling the third over in the power play when post the power play he'll become easier to hit. And you had him coming in and bowling one of the last few overs, or Cameron Green coming and bowling those overs. We had those questions even on Jofra's usage, that why is Jofra not opening the bowling, because he's not like Bumrah. Jofra is very good when gets the new ball and can bowl those two overs when the swing is available. So these things have been there at all times. It is just that we start scrutinizing it a lot more when the results are not coming.
Yes.
So these things have been there. It's just that scrutiny has not been there because you've had the results. That's all.
I'm also kind of comparing him to the other international captains who got a really good litmus test against this Bazball group. You talk about Babar Azam and how he was founded out. You talk about even Pat Cummins to a certain degree, who excelled in away conditions earlier this summer, last summer, I should say. I'm just saying, if results go against Rohit and he does lose this series 3-1, Nikhil, does that mean there's an inevitable sack? Or do you think because there's a lack of options in captaincy right now in India, Rohit will get a longer rope? I think that's something that Introspect as well pointed out.
No, if you're having a series loss, then there is definitely a good time to do that reset. And again, as I said, you need the two senior batters in Rohit and Virat to be there in the side. Now again, sometimes I feel a lot is made of just that tag. Now you could be part of the leadership group and still make a lot of impact. So I'm not too worried about in terms of what designation you get. But the point that you also make about Pat and everybody else is, this is why we keep saying that not a lot of people talk tactics, talk in terms of processes without the results. Because what Pat Cummins has also felt, what Babar Azam has also felt is things are happening very quickly. And what Stokes is trying to do is Stokes is trying to keep you on your toes that okay, now I'm changing this, now I'm changing this. It is as simple as you mentioned about Gill or say about Shreyas Iyer. He's making one field change, but in your mind you are thinking, oh, he's done something. Now he's making you think more than you want to. And that is what is happening with captains and think tanks as well. That okay, what is this plan? How is this happening that okay, we are constantly being put under pressure because it is not something that they're used to. You see how they started the second innings, that it is proper template. We'll give Bumrah 5 overs, we'll give Mukesh 2, only if he goes for runs, then we'll go to somebody else. Axel will bowl only 1 over. So it's the battle that you are fighting within yourself as well, that how much do I want to stick with this plan? And that is what I'll credit Ben Stokes for, that it's probably taken everybody for a ride, that do you actually know what's your plan A, what's your plan B, and how much conviction do you have on them, because they don't mind looking stupid. And I think that's a very crucial part of their functionality, that it's okay if it falls flat on my face. Like even with Rehan Ahmed, the talk is like he's the Nighthawk. Now you know what it is and know how it is being portrayed. Now it's up to you how you react to that. Whether you do not have the closing fielders, or as Paji said, whether you have a long off or long on in him, because you are thinking that he will attack. So I think India have been caught on that front, and it is a good test to have. And I think it's good to have it very early also.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, let me know, of course, if you think Rian Ahmed is the shortest ever night watchman in Test cricket history. I think he certainly is. I can't remember any other short night watchman that way. DOF saying, please, please, can we drop Bharat? With lots more to chat about in this review. We've not even gotten to the certain segments. We've just given our first thoughts and gotten to India's captain so far. But let's speak about the positive bits in India, and that features in our next segment called The Showstopper. Right, Shubman Gill, and he, of course, riding his luck, I should say, because he survived two close LBW calls, then a sharp chance at slip, but then he made it count. He got 100, and it was something to, of course, behold, because it's a first at this position, and there's more to show you in terms of stats right now. First and foremost, he got 104 to be precise before he tried that bizarre reverse sweep against Shoaib Bashir, and he, of course, fell where India still needed a little bit more runs, to be honest with you. But look, we can't really go against what Gill did today, 104, and that will definitely hold him in good regard. More to show you, because if you look at Shubman Gill's innings with a 50 plus score in tests, you can see the control percentage there. And the one that features today has a 93.9% control and a strike rate of 70.7. So he did, of course, get lucky, like I said earlier on, but there was a majority of that innings where he did play to the merit of the ball. I just want to get the boys' opinions on Shubman Gill right now before they come in, though. My producer tells me just to feature that wagon wheel as well, just to showcase how he was, not just on the onside, but the offside as well. He was more dominant in the leg side. You associate that with someone like Shubman Gill getting 66 of those runs on the leg side. But boys, Shubman Gill, has that done him a world of good or what? Because all the Shubman Gill fans in the house, his father was there, which is good to see today at Vizag. They would be breathing a huge sigh of relief. We'll start with Gill himself on Gill.
No, I think it was an innings which has probably brought him a lot of relief, and it's the kind of innings when where you're not having a battle with the opposition or the bowling lineup itself, but with like a battle with yourself. The first 20-25 balls were definitely tricky. They did test him, and you need that luck, especially when you're batting for your spot. But that you felt that as he batted more and more, he became very confident. The shot that he hit to Rehan Ahmed when Rehan Ahmed was coming around the wicket, and to come down and hit him straight, that does require a lot of skill. I mean, it was a really good shot. And I heard him speak after the day's play, and he said that he felt that he did leave a few runs out there and he should have had scored more. That tells you that okay, he knows he made that mistake and he's not satisfied, which should keep him in good stead. Having said everything, I still feel that at this point of time, maybe number 3 is still not his position yet. Probably it is number 5, and the team management has to find how to make that change or how to fit him there, because so far he's still not shown anything in his game to tell you that okay, he's gotten over that weakness of the ball coming in. Because when he's only looking to play the ball coming in, you've seen him probably try to overcompensate when the bowlers are taking the ball away from him, especially pacers. So either he has to show more patience on that fourth or fifth stump, or he has to pick the swing from the hand itself so that he doesn't make those mistakes. So that is my assessment on him.
Okay, Ashutosh having his assessment as well, and you guys can jump in and find out what we have to say about other things. I want to ask Nikhil, of course, about Shubman Gill right now, because Nikhil, one thing good about Geo Cinema with regards to watching it is that you can actually have a glimpse of the batter cam. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. And I was actually, when Gill came out of bat, I was just at the batter cam and I was observing facial expressions, how he was pushing and prodding. And there was a few things which I observed. One, obviously very circumspect and playing every ball like his life depended on it. And there was a lot of times he was saying the silent prayer just before the over started. I don't know whether that was a normal thing in his batting, but it felt like he really wanted to prove his point there today. Like I said, got the rub of the green, but where would you classify this innings? How would you classify this innings? Because I know just the third test done, but his best so far, or do you think the Bangladesh one was better?
See, in terms of relief and skill, I'll probably feel that the relief bit is the mental battle. As you know, Paji said, there are times where you want to feel that you belong, and I think this was one knock that will give him that confidence that I am here and I can do this. And you saw that in the celebration also. He, I don't know if it's just me or I'm reading too much into it, but that celebration told you he wanted to just soak in that feeling that it's been a while, it's taken a lot out of him, and he knew he could have been a goner three times, twice on four, and he must thank Shreyas Iyer and he should throw him a party. Okay, I don't know about you. For now, at least this one's meant a lot to me, and it tells you that he's always had this in him in terms of how you look at the control percentage. He's not played a lot of false shots in that innings, which we discussed yesterday as well, that in the first innings also he looked at ease for the major part of it till he got out. And today he had his probably his sternest test with both left arm spin and Anderson bowling very, very early to him. So I think in terms of ticking the boxes, he'll probably be very, very happy that he was able to tick those boxes. Strike rate, yes, he was probably slower to start with and then really got into his innings by playing those expansive strokes. And that is something that I hope he notes down as, okay, this is possibly the way for me to play at this spot. Because as Paji said, if they do not get him an alternative and he has to bat at this rate, sometimes you have to do it the hard way to then have that muscle memory that, okay, how is it that I did it the last time? This was the way I planned it, and this is how I go about it. So the fact that he also mentioned that he missed out on the runs, I think that's a very good sign, because you have to close the game out, and when you get in, you have to do that. So I think in terms of Gill, this series, they should probably give him the most confidence. He'll probably cherish this more than any other knock that he plays, because this has come under a lot of pressure and under a lot of noise. So I think he'll definitely cherish this one.
Absolutely. Pranam Anand also going on to chip in and say some sources said it was Gill's last opportunity at number 3. Does this mean that they want Gill at a different position like number 5, or was related to him going back to the run sheet to play versus Gujarat? So 100 did. I essentially feel, Pranav, if Gill's asked for this position, they're going to give him some time. And this has definitely bought him some time, and it's done him a world of good. And only time will tell how he kicks on in the series, let alone later on with Australia beckoning and all of that stuff. Ashutosh also going on to say India today were like Shubman, hamara prince hai, hum use use own karte hai, hum kehte prince kar lega. I mean, honestly, you guys can have your opinion. All right, now Shubham will talk about all of the best bits, including Kumar Sankara Bharat, KS Bharat, Kora Shrikar Bharat. Honestly, how he got out to that long hop is beyond belief. I know he took a sensational grab, but there is, of course, question marks, like I said at the top of the show. Right, so that was a showstopper segment about Shubman Gill, and understandably so, because India did get that 350 plus lead, and they should have got more, but they ended up at 399. Let's move on and talk about what's going to happen on day 4, guys, because there's not going to be day 5, I'm guessing, with how England are going to go about it. Could be maybe just the odd session or so. But let's talk about it in the next segment called What's Next? Right, lots of suggestions already coming in, Gurkirat, about what India should do in the opening session. Prashant Agarwal was saying this earlier, but he also had something else to say, that India should pack one side with the 7-2 field and ask Mukesh to bowl one line and should play with ego and patience of English batters. You could say that, and it all looks good, but it's about execution. Now, you, of course, plaguing the stats man, questioning Ashwin's numbers when he's opening the bowling in the second innings in a test match in India. Do you think that will be the ploy tomorrow morning with Bumrah? And that has to be the ploy, more importantly.
It should be. If it's not there, it would be disappointing, though not surprising, because it's happened before. But you know what Prashant has said, it's something that has happened before. It happened a long time ago, 2008 Nagpur, with MS Dhoni as the captain. It was the last test match of the series between India and Australia, the last test match that Saurav Ganguly played, wherein Australia, but it happened in the first innings. Australia were running away with the game, and MS had that idea with Zahir and Nishant bowling that line. And one thing that I've been able to, I think that can work against this kind of batting lineup is that you also have to play with their patience. I mean, the amount of risk that they take, the chances will come. I mean, you have to make them manufacture something by trying to bowl tight. If you feel that nothing's happening, because given how the pitch is and given how the conditions have been, I feel post the 35th, 40th over, there will be a time where not much will happen with the ball, and you cannot always be reliant on Bumrah to come back and bring the breakthrough. So you will have to manufacture something out of nothing, especially if say England are only 3 or 4 down. You would hope that as long as the ball is hard and new, you get as many wickets as possible. But say if you have England only 3 or 4 down by the 40th over or 35th over, when the ball has started to go soft, then you will have to think something on those lines to at least prevent the runs if you're not getting wickets.
I don't know about Root, Nikhil, but of course, Crawley is the big worry right now. And the more he is, he's going to take this game away from India. And you felt that he did that in the first innings before he had that brain fade. And I know Akshay Patel could have him again. Would you go down that route? How do you get Crawley out? Because I think he holds a key in that first 10 overs in the morning.
Yeah, I'll go with Bumrah and Ash without a doubt. First thing first, because there will be the roller effect which will ensure that the pitch is still good enough and not doing a lot, at least in the first half. And we've seen Anderson get some help very early as well in the first session. So I'm hoping that is the case with India. And if you are able to nick off Crawley, nothing like that. But at the other end, you need control. As Padi said, what you have to ensure is you have to have a phase where you are dictating the play. If you go ahead with Mukesh and you feel that okay, early morning movement hai, and if he gives away 20, you really have to be on your feet and say that okay, maybe let's pause this, get Aksar in, get him to bowl that one line, keep runs down, because you have to make them try something else. I think so far the problem for India has been they haven't made them try something else which puts them out of their comfort zone. What happened in the first inning was Bumrah being at his very, very best. That will not always happen. So you can't just rely on one individual to come good. So I'm looking at very tight bowling early up. And if there is any movement, Bumrah to find it, and Ashwin from the other end to use that bounce. I think the biggest point of difference between the two tests could be the bounce that's there on offer and how some of them have kept low. So then Aksar's line also becomes very, very crucial, that if I'm going to bowl straight, I need to have that those fielders to just be ready for that reverse if at all it comes. So I think India just have to be very, very sure of their plans with bowl new and old ball. Start with pace, partner Ashwin, and then use the uneven bounce to their advantage.
Yeah, it's fascinating because you mentioned the word control there. It's about how India kind of exert that control if Bumrah doesn't have to kind of be needed all the time. And Abbas, you raise a good question. How much will you bowl Bumrah? Because I know you're going for the win, and India anyway lagging behind. We have to hold him for those 3 other test matches at best. Fayyaz going on to say, Gurkira, don't be surprised if Rohit starts with Mukesh. Now, one of the reasons why Rohit might start with Mukesh was that little fucking horrendous crack, sorry for my French, right in the bang and that length that Mukesh bowls. Do you think that'll tempt India to throw him the ball and be like, listen, bhai, idhar hi pe, there'll be something going on?
I'm not sure, but what Fayaz says, I agree, which is why I said that it would be disappointing but not surprising. See, okay, one thing is if you go against the conventional wisdom and try something fair, but then you should have that conviction to try it for long enough. If you are only trying it for 2 hours, means you are just hoping that you will keep throwing
But
things
even
at.
you as a captain, say if you were Rohit, how much patience would you have with Mukesh? Even today, 2 overs, he's just being whipped and milked and nurdled and nudged. And you're thinking to yourself, kitna overdo, bhai?
No, but then that could be the problem. Then you have that faith ki theek hai, you'll at least give a longest spell, or you don't try it out at all. And you have to see, did Mukesh do anything different from how he bowled in the first innings? I don't think so. So which means that you did not even have a conversation, or you did not even have a different kind of field to give him that leeway that okay, if he errs on one side of the pitch, okay, he has some protection to give him the confidence. If you know that there is a tendency to err, see, it makes all the more baffling, because when your spinner is bowling and you have a night watchman, you have a long off in place. But if you've given the ball to a bowler who lacked control in the first innings, and you know that the batters are going to come after him, you're not having a sweeper, so you might as well have a sweeper for that guy, because that makes much more sense than having, and you had that long off for Kuldeep who took 3 wickets. So see, you can, there is nothing wrong in going against the conventional wisdom, because you might have had some thought, you want to try it, fair, but then have the conviction in it. You want to try unconventional things, but you don't have the conviction in it, which is why you look all the more stupid.
Yeah,
Which is why
and
you look all the
look,
more
you
stupid.
you
Like
were the
ये भी नहीं
advocate
चलेगा.
of having a second seamer, right? Because, like you said,
Yeah,
even
I
if
still feel, yeah, I have repeated this enough times that in the case of reverse happening, you cannot always go to Bumrah. You need a second seamer. And we saw Akshar bowl only 4 overs. If you have 4 spinners, you will have at least one spinner being underbowled. It could even be two. You could have played Sundar, okay? But do you think Sundar would have gotten the ball ahead of Ashwin? I don't think so.
but he'll
I
still be a
don't.
better bet than Mukesh, who's gone for what, none for 63 in his 7 overs that he's bowled this test. And I know I said Mukesh to be
See,
picked. I'm just
in
playing devil's
if
advocate.
you're going to make that assessment only on the basis of this test match, then you are also forgetting that he bowled with fair amount of control in South Africa in Cape Town, where he bowled better than Prasidh, and he bowled decently in West Indies also, where the pitches were also dead and did not have enough help. So I don't know. If you've played him. See, I said this yesterday that the way English batters bat, the margin of error is very less, and once you start missing your line, even then it becomes all the more difficult. There is very difficult for you to then execute or exude any amount of control. Then you need someone being in your ear and telling you, "Chalo, or kuch nahi, bowl wide, just bowl a few dot balls." But you don't even see that conversation happening. You just feel, okay,
That, that,
boundary
that,
only.
that's when you're clutching at your straws, thinking, please don't concede any more runs. But look, you make a good point. I
No,
want to get
I'm
Nick's
saying,
opinion.
you have, when an inexperienced bowler is already under pressure, you feel, you get the impression that he's been thrown into the deep end without anyone even being in his air to guide him. You just ask him, okay, bowl one side of the wicket, don't give runs. We'll look to correct one thing first. But at this point of time, you feel that, okay, you've given him the ball, you've thrown him at the deep end, you've left him to figure out कि तेरे को कैसे डालना है, तुझे कैसे रन रोकने हैं, जो भी है, you think of it yourself. What you will only do is, if the ball goes to the boundary, you'll change the field. You'll just change the field. You'll just travel with the ball. Where the boundary goes, you place a fielder there.
True. I'm just saying, in hindsight, there's two things about this. One, where you would look at Mukesh and how he's bowled in the 7 overs in the test match so far and be like, shit, you should have given a longer rope, better field set, so on and so forth. Then the other way to look at it, Nix, is that, yeah, England have played 4 spinners, with Root being their 4th spinner. We could have used Sundar like that, even though he's not obviously the first, the second, and third spinner. He'll still come in and do a better job than, not just with the ball in hand, but with the bat in hand, right? So it is a balance factor as well. So where do you sit in this 3 days after the selection's been made?
No, I'll still stick by my word that I would rather play the spinner because he's more likely to create chances. And now my point is, if you want to manage Bumrah's workload, don't give him that much bowling. Who is asking you to keep bowling in or over bowling? The problem here is because you don't trust anybody else. It doesn't matter. You play 4 paces, they'll still bowl Bumrah more because he's the only guy that they trust. So the problem here is to, as a system, to firstly accept that you will get hit. That is what I think was very evident when Pat Cummins had a sweeper cover very first over. That it is okay. Bazball will come hard, they will hit boundaries. It is okay for me to get hit. And then you start from there. The problem here for India is they're still in that vision that, I don't know, how do we have a sweeper cover rightly? If pehle over mein, how will it look? It doesn't matter how it looks. What I don't agree with India doing is, I don't think India are setting people up to succeed. As you know, Paji said, they are like, you'll get 3 overs max with the new ball, go around the wicket, see what you can do. But if that ball is going wide, you'd want to see somebody go up to him that, okay, if you want to not try that line, okay, don't do it, come back over the wicket, try something else. The point is, because the batting at the other end is such, it is putting so much pressure on the captain also. And again, this is the first for everybody involved. So, which is where I feel you need to firstly back your strengths. If you think Mukesh is your strength, then back him. If you felt Siraj was your strength, don't use him for only 11 overs because then you're not trusting him enough. Even in this very test, you've given Akshar Patel 4 overs. Where is it this showing confidence? Because Stokes was batting, you did not give him the ball. So my problem is you are not trusting your own plans. As Pali said, the conviction is not there. So it doesn't matter. You play four spinners, four pacers. Eventually, it's about your usage. And if you feel that Mukesh will bowl only 10 overs, then in those 10 overs, I would rather have Sundar bowling and I will not give Bumrah that much bowling. Have the trust in others that bhai, they will do the job.
Yeah, I mean, where do you guys sit on this? Honestly, Gukirat is in that whole second seamer chat. Nick believes that there's going to be four spinners, and many people are reckoning that India, when Jadeja comes back, will go down that four spinner route. So let us know in the comments as well. Lots of you guys are chuckling about the commentary this series. I don't know what you guys made of it, but I generally feel Ravi Shastri is always a great addition to the combox. It's good that Harsha Bhogle has been doing his thing, even though he's been mocked right now by saying, "What a ball! What a wicket! What a game! What a day! What a..." I was going to say anything else, but I'll stop over there and like introspect, echoing those indeed. Guys, it's been a fascinating review and it's been a fascinating day, and I can't wait for day 4. And there's more to talk about in the Monday Night Live, which follows the review tomorrow. So, of course, subscribe if you guys are new. Plenty of content coming your way on cricket.com. Good to see you, Manikanta. Good to see you. Lots of other people as well. Chachant as well has made his presence felt in the comments below. Good luck to Arsenal Liverpool, Chachant. That'll be a fascinating one. Right, time to, of course, give you some trivia and bowl you a googly because it's been a while. Right, time to throw you the third googly of this test match because we've thrown you one on day 1, which we, of course, shed light on the answer. Vijay Merchant it was, who became the first Indian batter to score a 150-plus score as an opener in tests against England. And then we asked you yesterday, what was the question? I think we asked, where did Ashwin go wicketless or something like that. The
When was
answer,
the
my
last
friend,
time?
what was the
When
answer, Gurkirat?
it's
Well said.
2019 South Africa.
Vizag.
Ranchi,
Yeah.
na?
No, I
Acha,
think
Vizag.
the venue was different.
Acha.
Okay, fair enough. So whoever got that in the chat, I think it was Shubham Gupta who's got the answer on both days. So well done to you, Shubham. And we'll tell you what you guys win indeed. Let's have the googly today, Mr. Producer. Let's see what we've gone with. Now, James Anderson has picked up 39 wickets in India, the second most per visiting pacer. The question we want to ask you today is, who has the most after, of course, Anderson's 39? I can give you a clue. Or actually, I wouldn't, because this is actually so straightforward. I know you guys must be already on the cricket.com app, checking all out the stat nuggets and the stat pieces. So it's a straight up one. But kudos to Anderson. Honestly, 39 wickets. He's already got 5 in this match. He's bowled, what, I think 15 overs this test entirely, or something like that. 35 overs, beg your pardon. 35 overs is what he's bowled this match. 5 for 210, Anderson. And of course, he might be rested next one, but he's definitely playing the Dharamshala game 100%. Sukhveer saying stain. Abbas saying easy. Abbas, what is it? If you think it's really easy, name it right now and let me know if you think it is, because I have the answer staring in front of me. I want to give you more clever clues, but I can
He
give
was a
you
coach.
one. No,
He
our
was a
crowd is smart. Like our community, and Nikhil and Gurkira know this as well. Like, all these guys who daily tune into our content are very, very smart. So I don't know if I can give you a clue, but Abbas, you're wrong. It's not Stain. It's not Stain, Samish. It's not Stain. Akhil. I mean, all you guys, calm
But
down.
Stein is the most obvious guess
Ah,
because
fair
he's had
guess.
a lot of memorable spells in India. There's
Yeah.
the 7 for
Aku.
51 in Nagpur, and then that
Everyone?
5 for in
Whatever.
Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So it's the most obvious guess.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, more comments to take just before we wrap up, because I know we're close to an hour and it is a Super Sunday. So we will, of course, ask the panelists the questions that you guys have thrown in, which I've not taken because of all our chats. Now, we've discussed a plethora of things already so far, but I want to give Gurkirat and Nix one each. One is, of course, about the KS Bharat and where do you guys sit with him, because it's not very often you look at an Indian player profile in terms of his test record and you see his win ratio being absolutely shocking. He lost the WTC. He's been part of that that BGT loss that uh, Australia, of course, gave India, and then the series opener defeat in Hyderabad as well. What do you guys make of him individually? What's his ceiling? Because he's not even a Saha. Let's be honest.
Yeah, see, he's easily getting outkept by folks, and folks has
But
actually
Folks
been.
is out keeping everyone. Though the
Yeah,
world, I think
just
he's the best.
and there will be no shame in getting outkept
Yeah,
by folks. Everybody
yeah,
I
wants to get
agree.
outkept by folks.
I was just going to say that even in the 2021 series, you felt that folks was doing better than Pant in terms of keeping. Pant improved, but folks was spot on from the first game itself. So there is that. And see, his dismissals have also not helped. I mean, getting out to long hops. I think that if India win this test match, he will get another game. If they don't, I'd still like them to give them another game. In the manner in which Sanjay Manjrekar once said about Kohli after just before that test in Perth, that he should just get one more game if you
Just to
really
show.
want to make sure that he doesn't belong there, because uh, as unimpressive as he has been with the bat, you also have to be fair to him and say that okay, he played his 5 test matches against a difficult opposition on difficult pitches. Those 5 came against Australia, then you dropped him for West Indies, and now it's been this. So there's no harm in giving him one more game. If
And
he
South
still
Africa. South Africa also didn't play.
he didn't play at all. Yeah, he was not even. Yeah, because you knew that KL, and I still feel that if tomorrow, or if a month from now, if Pant wasn't fit and India had to tour Australia for that test series, they will not have KS Bharat as the keeper. I think they will go back to KL Rahul.
Yeah.
It's
But they
evident.
won't have KS Bharat as keeper because they pigeonholed him as an Indian keeper in the subcontinent.
I think that they just wanted to see how he can bat in subcontinent and if that can give them any confidence. But clearly, you see, even Akshar is batting ahead of Bharat, and that is when they've not really promoted Akshar in previous games. So I don't think they have enough confidence in him. But as Nikhil also said when we were talking about Gill and Shreyas, that you might as well give someone an extra game rather than not give them, one game less. So just give him that one more game to make sure that he doesn't really belong. Even though I don't believe in saying that no one doesn't really belong, because the sport really has a way of coming back to bite you, and things can change overnight. We have seen it with so many cricketers. I mean, if you would have looked at
Oh,
Zach Crawley 2 years before,
yeah.
and then
I
if you
thought,
look
sorry, I thought he was going to say ask Somesh, but then he was like ask so many players.
देखो बॉस की थोड़ी रिस्पेक्ट करनी पड़ती है.
No, I
But
was laughing at Gokina's point because give him a game to see how bad he could be again, and then
no,
probably
no.
bring in Dhruv Jurel. I mean, when do you guys bring in Dhruv Jurel, or again is he just warming the bench?
Like I said, uh, if India win this game, I think Bharat will get one more chance. But if India lose, then he could also go out.
Nix, where do you stand in Bharat?
I'll give him all 5 and then be done. Because just so that okay, you got 5 versus tough opponents. Now you have again got 5 because again they are playing a brand that you want to catch up. But my problem with him is not even those lapses behind the stumps. My point is those dismissals tell you that there is a lot to be done there. It's those choices, and it's see when it needs a good ball to get you out, I'm completely fine with it. At this point of time, that is not the case, and I don't think that is something that you can afford if you know you are playing for your spot most of the time. So I think that's where I expect a lot more out of him. And again, it's not that we are expecting him to score 70, 80, but you are batting low. But then you have to bat and give us and everybody the impression that it will take a very good ball to get me out. I'm not going to go away from here just like that. I think that is something which I feel even Bharat, even Kona Bharat will accept that that's where he's probably found a bit more lacking.
Yeah, like no one had any criticism for him in the second innings dismissal in Hyderabad, because that was a good delivery to get him out.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had
And
worked
that
hard
is
for 28. And that is
yeah,
acceptable
exactly.
because you can't do anything about it. But the
Yeah,
criticisms have been about the remaining 3 dismissals, where you've just,
yeah.
gotten out pretty randomly.
And if you just look at that 10 last innings that he's got, not one above 45, let alone 50. So
See, but
that's something.
See, that is
I
he's
think
batting too low to have that high score.
that plus if you
But
look at his first
I'm
class
fine with
record,
160. I'm fine with 7, 7, 7, 8, 9, 63, 7, 7. I'm fine with that. but
Yeah.
not even 160.
Yeah, but I think, if you look at his first class record as well, I am not really expecting him to score 50s any which way, because his first class average was 38 or 39 before he made his India Test debut. So right
No,
now
I'm
it's
not asking him to be like a punt by any stretch of the imagination. I'm asking him to be probably like Shane Dowrich, maybe like not even a Mushfiqur, because that's high standards. I'm talking about Dinesh Ramdin, Josh De Silva. I don't know why I'm naming West Indian wicketkeepers, but you know what I mean? Like that kind of trend. Just come in and
Then still they are batting higher up the order as compared to Case.
fair. And Bharat, I know with Akshay now, of course, proving his
Yeah.
worth, it only makes sense with Bharat over there. But good questions, and guys, thanks Balaji as well. And finally, we'll end because we're really close to the hour. It's been a long review, but definitely worthwhile listening to it. If you guys have just joined us, please like this particular podcast video, whatever you want to call it these days. And we're going to end with an absolute important one because it does set up the day going ahead. We spoke about it just before in the What Next segment, but we'll end this day 3 review by this question because it leaves it open-ended. We'll all have our says on it. Prediction time then, Kukira. What's going to happen? And you can't give me 2 scenarios and be like, ha, bola tha, nana, bola tha, and all of that stuff. You have to be straight. What's going to happen? Is it going to be Bazball Supreme or is it going to be Row Ball?
No, I think India will win, and I think it will be on the back of a good spell from Ashwin. I think, see, it's been 3 innings in this series. You feel that by now he should have had the measure of how to bowl, where to bowl to which batters, and maybe there should be some compensation of the luck that he did not have in the first innings. So I think it should be on the back of an Ashwin performance, probably a 4 for, if not a 5 for. But yeah, I think India should win.
You agree, Next, Ashwin's got 7 so far this series, if my math serves me right. He needs 3 more for 500. That'll probably be the cherry on the cake with an India win prior to lunch.
Yeah. As long as you're winning, I'll take it whenever it is, lunch and tea. I don't want a tie. I had predicted a tie, so maybe that can come later. But yeah, I think for India's sake as well, you'd want that to happen. So hopefully just that, and let's not discuss worst case scenario, because last time we did it, it happened. So not going down that route.
Greg thinking that it is all of a sudden Firosha Kotla where Ashwin does the Anil and gets 10. But thanks for your comments, guys. Really, really appreciate it. And Chitank, we'll see tomorrow. Mukesh Pauly goes on to say, KS Ball Manigata, you guys are just being funky right now on a Sunday evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Some sumptuous sport action indeed. All you SA20 fans, go back and watch the highlights of New Zealand, South Africa. If you guys are fans of Rachin Ravindra and Kane Williamson, they got tons over there. And not to forget Australia, West Indies. How the hell has Sean Abbott managed to kind of salvage Australia a win in that regard? But it makes you think about India much more. And on that day for Monday morning, we'll be there tomorrow evening, not just once, but twice, 8 p.m. later on in the day, Monday Night Live. But of course, Gurkirat, Nikhil and me will be picking the bones about whether it's an India win or whether England maybe go 2-0 up, dare I say. Thanks so much for watching. It's a goodbye from all of us. And please like all the remaining content in cricket.com. We put out some good funny shots on Shubman Gill. Go check that content section out as well. And not to forget, there's going to be some more fantastic classic episodes releasing later this week. Time for me to say goodbye. Cheers, guys. Come on, United. We need a win,
Cheers.
at least in the football scheme of things. Bye.
Exactly.